Thanks to our good sponsor, Tim O'Neill of State Farm, we have our 5-minute etiquette. And, there's something that the realtor community needs more of is etiquette. So
that is correct. For some reason, Christy's been assigned to our show.
I think
permanent assignment.
Monthly basis to check in with you all.
Charity case.
Yes. Pro bono.
Anyway, we're privileged to have it because Christy travels all over the state and teaching business etiquette, and she always has some great tips for us. So we're going to talk today, which is ironic because
he said tips, by the way.
Tips.
I just want to let you guys know.
Yes. Which is ironic because I showed up about 10 minutes before the show today, which is very unusual for me, about time management. So what are our tips today?
So interesting about time management.
I did that on purpose.
You mentioned time management.
I know. You gave us quite a bit of things to talk about here. You know what? I have to say, I was a little bit late, too.
Oh, wow.
We were all at that same warehouse fire saving those small puppies.
But you know what? I share that because, hey, have all you guys always been on time?
Well, anything I'd say would belie that claim.
So things happen,
Crickets.
right? And business, we hear business etiquette and we think, oh my gosh, I got to be perfect. And I've said that before. And sometimes we're not on time, but we can put a plan in place that can help us. And so one of the biggest tips that I can get, tips.
You like saying the word tips.
Also, we didn't need to go there.
I know, but you guys are so fun. You start out with a goal for the day, and that's one of the best things that we can offer up as far as kind of get your mind around what you need to do. Now, we oftentimes go,
sorry, we lost Joe in the corner there. The other thing about business etiquette is to be polite to our guests.
Yes. And
it's all Kelso's fault.
Quit laughing over there. Okay. When we have our mindset and our focus, we tend to accomplish more. And so, but here's what happens. We try to go set a goal for the day, but we don't know what the goal for the week, the month, the year is. So we get up and we go do emails, or we run around like a chicken with our head cut off. And then we start doing, I call it dilly-dallying, and go do another thing and do another thing. And then we're always late. So, and that really can kind of deplete your professionalism. So how do you?
It's that ADD in us.
Come on.
We search, go look for our keys, and while we're out there and go, oh gosh, the garbage needs empty. And no, you know what? By the way, I need to rearrange this. And so you kind of start off with
when I'm already
mission.
15 minutes late, I need to rearrange my furniture. Is that what you were doing, Rob?
I've heard that highly optimistic people are often more late because they think that they can get more done in a short amount of time.
Well, that is an optimistic point of view.
Only realtors.
I'm supporting and spreading this.
Only
opinion.
realtors think they can go from Katy to Kingwood. They'll get a client on the phone. Oh, yeah, I'll be there in 15 minutes. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah. So
now, Rob, I usually say 10, not 15.
Well, it's 15 minutes from where was the place? The random people show up.
That's right.
Random people show up everywhere. So
that was Pearland.
Pearland, yeah, it's 15 minutes from Pearland to downtown.
You have to figure out your goal for the day, and how do you do that? You look at where you are in your life, you look at where you want to go, and then that kind of speaks to what the activities are. That's the bigger picture, but there's something that I do want to talk about. It's called time mapping. And oftentimes I will hear realtors, and time management is not for just realtors. It's for every professional, and we can all do a little bit better at it. Time mapping, and I'll hear a ton of realtors say, that's not for us. We don't do time mapping. But if you don't map your time, which is basically looking at the overall 24/7 of your day and putting balanced time in there, family, friends, radio rat pack, real estate rat pack, you're going to be living in a chaotic world, which then exacerbates the tardiness.
Well, yeah, I always would tell people.
This show is brought to you by the word exacerbate.
Yes. We rented that for the day, but we do have to have it back tomorrow.
Okay, we'll give it back.
2-day rental.
Yeah, my theory's always been if I'm 5 minutes early, I'm on time, and if I'm on time, I'm late. Except for today, of course.
Well, we just blew that theory out of the water, didn't we, today?
Disappointment. I would have been here on time. But that seems to be chronic with realtors. We also have issues with drive times and things like that, and it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, you need an hour at least to get 15 minutes in Houston.
Exactly. And I was going from like the Galleria. No, actually was probably more like where HAR is located on 59, trying to get over to the Heights. At 3:30, you think that would be an easy time to go, and it was bumper to bumper. It was about an hour to do it. It should have been a half hour.
Well, let's talk about it. We got to think about it. I mean, our city is growing like leaps and bounds, and you've got to think about all the road closures. This morning, that's a little bit why I was a couple minutes tardy, is because I was maneuvering around street closures that I wasn't aware of And how can you always be aware?
Well, there's an app called Waze.
That's true. I didn't turn on.
I
was hurrying too much.
There's an app for that.
Turn on the
There's an
app
app for that. But they will actually give you some things that, and it might be part of your mapping. It's like, I have to go here. I've not been there before. Look at Waze or other programs like that.
15-minute buffer is always a good thing. Yeah.
Well, typically I do a 15-minute buffer. That's
all right. We're not here to pick on you today.
Yeah, it's
Rob.
okay. These guys usually do. So I'm picking on myself. So I can. It's a preemptive.
Part of my union contract.
Yes, exactly. So
you got to look at your life. You got to look at what you want. That speaks to your activities. Then you got to map it out. And how you do that is time mapping. Obviously, I can't really show you that here on the radio. I could, diagram it in air, but you certainly can come into one of our classes. We teach them all around the state of Texas, and happy to go through that. It's about an hour and a half segment that we go through, kind of looking at your life, mapping it out, seeing how you can get down to those extra 15 minutes and hey, having some balance in it and some fun.
Now, your
too.
classes aren't just for realtors. They're
No,
for anyone who
everyone,
is in business.
absolutely.
Right? So how if someone wants to sign up, how would they go about doing that?
Well, thank you for asking, Rob. They would call
Almost
an
like a plan.
800.
This shameless plug brought to you by the word exacerbate.
We appreciate it at Champion School of Business Etiquette. They would call 800-888-335-6767. Or anyone, in the industry can just give me a call, 281-658-2335. One thing I do want to share is we have a blog, and I just recently wrote a blog on this subject. It's championsbusinessetiquette.com, blog.championsbusinessetiquette.com.
I hope you teach a class on how realtors to be nice to each other when they're on the phone trying to negotiate something. They seem to get really electric.
Yes. We talk about communications, and we really talk about respect, because etiquette, really the basis of etiquette is respect. Respect for yourself and respect for others.
We could spread a little bit around.
We
to the
all
whole
could.
world.
Realtors or otherwise.
Realtors or otherwise. But I see it a lot in realtors, and again, the people get so emotionally involved, and of course, people hire us for two things: to be objective and to be a great negotiator. And as a whole, we haven't done really that great a job.
Well,
so
send them on over. I'm happy to help.
That is the Business Etiquette Minute, brought to you by the great Tim O'Neill with State Farm.
That's right.
Thank you, Tim.